Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello, TV friends. It's your friends in the TV joining you yet again for another week of talking about retro stuff with our brand new modern eyes to see how does it hold up. Did we like it? Who knows? We're about to find out. This week we've got a very special episode of the sitcom Mork and Mindy. Joining me to talk about the wonderful Mork from Ork is Amy from Mamie.
All right, so I've got a bit of a cold, and so I've taken an uncomfortable amount of Sudafed today. You know, like the amount that the government really starts to question you on. And so I feel like I really connected with Mork in this episode. I understand where he's coming from. I feel it. It's good.
That's perfect. And Travis from Ravis.
Nanu.
And of course, what would a show be without Audie from Maudie?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Luke.
Luke who?
Luke who?
Look at all these presents. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Donut.
Donut
who?
Donut open until Christmas. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Noah.
Noah.
Noah who?
Know a good Christmas joke? Now, if only Susan Taylor had used one of these.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, we watched the doozy. It is Christmas time, so of course we've got to watch some Christmas shows. And I could not decide what to do. I was struggling with it, and I was like, you know what? We need some Robin Williams Mork in our lives, which I think is your prescription for everything. And we got it. We brought us Mork and Mindy. Mork's First Christmas. First of all, this is a show that I recall when I was really small watching a lot of this. This is one of those Nick at Nighters that was on for a bit, but it only ran for, I think it was 4 seasons. So there's not, you can't, when you're doing it nightly, it repeats pretty fast.
Yeah, pretty fast.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they ended up getting, moving on from it pretty quickly. But I do remember watching quite a bit of it as a kiddo. But not, it still felt brand new to me watching it today because I didn't have that much of a history. But I am curious, as we always do, to find out how you guys enjoyed your Mork, or if you ever did. We'll start with you, Travis.
I mean, I love Robin Williams. He is one of my favorites of all time. So I definitely watched some Mork and Mindy. Kind of the same thing. I remember catching it like on Nick at Night type of deal. I just love the energy, just the madcap, zany energy that Robin Williams brought to anything. Jokes, 100 jokes a minute. Yeah. Definitely don't remember any specific episodes, but remember watching the show.
Yeah, for sure. Amy, how about you?
I know I watched some, but it was my little sister who was really into Mork and Mindy. It was Mork and Mindy and Laughing. This was her jam. It's a wild thing.
That's a combo.
Yeah.
But she loved Mork and Mindy when we were little. So like I know that there was like there by osmosis. I think it was probably a little fast for me when I was little. Like I would have just been like, I don't understand a word he's saying. I'm gonna go.
That's probably
You just didn't take enough Sudafed before you watched it.
Yeah, I didn't.
yeah.
No, I was not on it.
Yeah, that or any other choice drug
Yeah.
of the day.
Upper.
Yeah, sure, an upper. Hey, Audie, how about you?
Yeah, I remember watching it like everybody else. I don't know if it was Nick at Night or like TBS back in the day or something. I know I caught it here and there somehow. And it's one of those things where it's like you learn about it after the fact and the cultural zeitgeist of it, because even for 4 seasons, it has had an impact on everybody.
At some point, you're like, wait, that's the genie? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I watched it, I knew of it, and this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's touched everything, and it's those. It's kind of like a rocket. Like it was here and gone. It's just and it was really just that launch pad for Robin Williams' career in television. it was fun. I was reading some of the background trivia on the show, and they auditioned several people. One of the names that stood out to me was Richard Lewis. Was auditioned for
Different
Mork.
That's a
show.
That would be
very it's a
Yeah,
very
very
different
different.
Mork.
very different show. And they so the producers are sitting around interviewing people, and Robin Williams comes in and immediately sits on his head, like Mork does, is known for, like rolling onto the couch head first. And Gary Marshall quipped later that Robin Williams was the only alien that actually showed up. So it totally fit what they were going for. But of course, he wasn't auditioning for Mork from Mork that we see in Mork and Mindy. He was auditioning for a special episode of Happy Days, where Mork was going to be a special guest in a weird sci-fi 50s mashup.
Wild.
Mhm.
Right? So if you didn't know, this is a spin-off of Happy Days.
Yeah.
You know, much like Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off of Happy
Yep.
Days. Gary Marshall produced some television back
Yeah, he
then.
did.
He was James
Oh,
L.
yeah.
Brooks and Gary Marshall were titans of television at the time. So Robin Williams played on that show. Was going to kidnap Richie and bring him back to Ork and Fonzie intervened. And in the original airing of that show, it turned out Richie had a dream. But everyone liked Robin Williams so much that in syndication, they re-edited it so that Mork had just wiped their memories of him having been there.
Nice.
So,
Mhm.
like,
Love it.
clever. Yeah, because they knew they're like, we can make a show out of this. This will be fun. So they moved Mork into the future because Happy Days, of course, takes place in the 50s. Mork takes place in the 70s, present day at the time.
Yeah.
And because Mork had told Richie, I am an alien from the future. Therefore, they moved him up, dropped him in Colorado, had him meet Pam Dawber, who plays Mindy on the show. And then, ta-da, you've got your fish out of water sitcom. Basically writes itself. So
Pretty
that's
much,
how
yeah.
we ended up with Mork and Mindy in Colorado. And a show that lasted 4 seasons, but only one of which seemed to have everyone's attention. It seemed like as the show went on, it was a victim of the old, we'll move you to a different time slot strategy.
Sure.
Yeah, it was
which
airing at
always works.
Oh yeah, sure. You've got this show has tons of viewers. Let's move it. Great, bold strategy. The basic idea they were going to move it against another popular show and try to steal popular viewers from the other network, and it did not effective. It was not
Didn't
as
do that.
no, it
Hmm.
did not do that. And
It's
then
a hard sell, man. I'm not gonna,
yeah.
What was the other
Uh,
show?
Yeah, what was the other show? I read about it, Audie. You would ask. Let me
Okay.
consult my notes. It was a show. I don't remember. Hold
Okay.
on. No. We can. The audience can handle it. Vamp for a second while I find it.
While he's doing that, I want everyone to think of another stand-up comedian you would love to see play the character of Mork.
Ooh.
Oh man.
oh boy.
No,
Like
no restriction on era. It can be from any era. I don't care. But who would be a great stand-up comedian that could be Mork from Mork?
Are we like any stand-up comedian from now or back
Any stand-up
then?
comedian. Yep. Now, back then, whenever. Doesn't matter when. You
Good, because
take
the
Robin
only
Williams
stand-up
out.
comedians I know are like British comedians from right now.
They
So
can
that's
do it.
good. You can't restrict me like this.
But
Good.
you take Robin Williams out of the character of Mork and you put somebody else in. It's going to be obviously a very different show because there is no one like Robin Williams.
There's no one.
No.
And there's
I
really no one like Robin Williams on cocaine.
By the
Oh,
way,
yeah.
one
At
of my
all.
favorite Frank Caliendo is an amazing impressionist,
Oh,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Frank Caliendo did a bit where he was being Robin Williams and he was on a set and it was like a studio. So he was moving from set to set and he's going off, he's doing his Robin Williams. And at one point he just stops. He's like, guys, I can't, I'm worn out. I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't know. It's got to be the cocaine. I don't know how he did it. Like,
Can't.
Well, you lasted just as much time as I needed because I found out the
Nice.
show that it was moved against was the Waltons.
Oh, well, of course.
yeah.
The
I
Waltons.
mean,
Or no, it was
How are you
sorry, it was moved from the against the Waltons to replace Battlestar Galactica when Battlestar Galactica went off the air. So it was moved from Thursday against the Waltons to Sunday, where it replaced Battlestar Galactica. 'Cause it's a sci-fi show. maybe
Yeah,
the
it's
Battlestar.
aliens.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
total
Yeah.
sci-fi, but it was aired against NBC's anthology series, The Sunday Big Event. I'm not familiar with that. I should be. We should learn what that is. And CBS's Archie Bunker's Place. So,
Oh,
yeah, it was put in a spot.
no.
Two
That
networks.
none of that works. Like having it going against the Waltons is like, I mean, there's two things that just don't match at
Mhm.
all. So you're not going to get a lot of crossover. I feel like you're not taking
Yeah.
people watching the Waltons are not going to be like, ooh, Mork and Mindy, I'll watch that instead.
No,
Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's a very
that
different
ain't happening.
vibe. Yeah.
And yeah, and then to your point, yeah, just because it's got an alien doesn't mean it can replace Battlestar Galactica. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe everyone who watched
choice.
that show will now watch Mork and Mindy. No, they won't. And to be fair to the audience at the time, we know Robin Williams. They
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
know Robin
That's
Williams.
true.
Not like we do.
Yeah.
Uh,
because at that point, all he had basically done was like some episodes of Laugh-In and like,
mhm.
8 is enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a guest spot on that, like nothing.
When did
He
Toys
had
come out?
Oh, Toys was
Toys?
92.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
it
oh,
was
that's
much
late.
later.
Okay.
Yeah,
91,
no, that's much
92.
later.
Yeah.
He
Weird movie.
he
by
didn't
the
really
way.
hit his stride
It's a
until
weird
I mean,
movie.
Mork and Mindy launched his career.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it put him on the map, and everybody had fun. But man, the TV having that kind of personality in just that short amount of time, and like having, it seems like it would be a challenge to find the right spot for him to
Yeah.
work
Oh,
out
for sure.
in
Yeah,
that world.
For sure.
But man, it worked. It worked for him for a while, and there definitely was his cocaine age, or at least the cocaine era of
Mhm.
Robin Williams. I swear I saw him grinding his jaw a few times. And I'm not sure
It's
if
a
that was
lot.
from the
Mhm.
cocaine or from just because he's that character. But that's not that I know a lot about drugs, but I know a little bit. But anyway, it was a great show. It had a lot going for it, except it just didn't have. They couldn't find the right spot, and it continued to lose viewers. And then they got weird. Like they started doing weird stuff. Like at one point, Mindy
Which
and
is
Mork.
saying something.
I was about to
I
say,
know.
yeah, for a show
Good
about an
point.
alien,
Yeah,
in a
but
particular weird alien.
well, weird is against a baseline.
Yeah.
Whatever normal was
Yeah.
for
The
Mork.
sliding scale.
They got
Yeah.
weirder than that because
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
at one point they had a child where Mork laid the egg because on Orc the males lay the egg and the children who
Sure.
are born old and age in reverse. So Jonathan Winters was their child,
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Mirth,
Mhm. Mhm.
which
Mirth from Earth,
Oh, I
of course.
yeah,
I forgot about that.
about that.
you forgot about Mirth. Yeah, so Jonathan
God, I
Winters.
can only imagine the outtakes from that. Good lord, the two of them together.
Yeah, because Robin Williams adored Jonathan Winters. Like he was basically his
Mhm.
comedy role model. So they got to work together in
think
episodes where they
everybody did.
play together is the most fun to watch, but the most
Yeah.
nonsensical television you've ever
I'm
seen.
sure.
Yeah.
It's just trap everyone else in the loony bin with Jonathan Winters and Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That's what happened. But fun to see, and you're glad. Like I'm watching these two people play, and I'm like, this is great. It makes no sense. It has no legs. But here for this little flash of time, these people are together as they should be. Because I love Jonathan Winters too. I don't know who wouldn't.
Right.
He's amazing. If you ever watch old Carson episodes with him on it and stuff, it's wonderful.
Mhm.
But that's all I've got in facts for Mork and Mindy. Is short-lived, wonderful sitcom. But I do have some notes about the show. So we watched the episode about Christmas.
Good.
Yeah.
Which it's Mork's first Christmas. He's never been a part of that before. And it opens up with Mork
It's so good.
losing his mind about the plague of Christmas.
Yeah.
I love it so much. It was so good.
And it was so fast. I had such a hard time catching up.
Uh-huh.
But one of the jokes I got that cracked me up the most was there's a little fat dude in a red suit on every corner.
Yep. I loved how concerned he was for the halls because everybody's singing about decking them.
Checking them.
Deck
Yep.
the halls. You got to
The
protect
Mel
Monty Hall,
Mel
and,
Hall
his
and
family.
his family.
Monty
Uh-huh.
Monty Hall
Monty
and
Hall.
his family.
Monty Hall, yeah.
Yeah, they're going around deck the halls, deck the halls. We have to protect
It's
them.
carol. They're singing carols because it makes people happy. Well, not the halls.
Yep. I also like the little plastic babies on everyone's lawn covered in straw.
Yeah.
That's really good.
It was
That was
so
really good.
manic. It was so good.
Oh yeah, and it was that one of the other things about the show that was interesting is the script would often just say Robin Williams says stuff.
I was
Like they
gonna
Hmm
would
say.
just but what happened was whenever they would write that down, he'd come flying out throwing out the most unsuitable for television
Yeah,
jokes.
yeah, yeah.
And then they wouldn't be able to use any of it. So they had to start writing some prompts, some like pre
Mm-hmm.
ad libs, so they could write them down for it. He could make the jokes. They could pick out the ones they liked, and then he could do those. Which, if you've ever heard the myths or the fables of him doing the genie, there's apparently just reels and reels and reels
hmm
of way wrong jokes that he did in the
Oh, sure.
booth.
I'm sure there's some because he had some stuff with the Muppets too, and some of the jokes that
Mm-hmm.
made it are borderline.
Oh, the
Mm-hmm.
Elmo joke. Have you ever seen the Elmo
Is it
Yes, Fat
outtakes?
Elmo?
Elmo
Yeah, where he's
Oh
talking to
yeah,
Elmo.
with the stick.
yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Elmo calls him Mr. Robbins,
Yep.
and Elmo gets very embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
You just
Ah,
go look that up. It's really fun.
it's so good.
Yeah, it's really great. Um, but I actually wrote down the note. I can't keep up the bit about the plague of Christmas. I am just running out of. I'm already typing as
Mm-hmm.
furiously as
hmm
I can. But he's definitely concerned, and so Mindy has to sit him down and explain what Christmas is all about. So she explains, Christmas is about the birth of Jesus and all this stuff, and then the door gets a knock on the door, and Susan's here, and this is where the knock knock joke happens. And Audie, I hope you caught it because I missed what the knock knock joke actually was because I was writing something down.
The knock knock
Oh,
joke
it was
came
just.
later, the
It was
second
Oh,
time
later.
she
it
showed
came
up.
Yeah,
The
the
later.
first
second
time she
time.
shows up, she just knocks on the door, and Mork's like, "I'll get it," and he goes over, and when he opens it up, the joke he makes when he opens it up is like, "Oh, you don't have to worry about anymore. Your fair weather friend is here,"
You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about the winter. Yeah.
and it's Morgan Fairchild as Susan.
Who I
So
had
good.
forgotten was in this show. Like, it completely left
Yeah,
my brain
I
that she was
completely
even a
forgot that.
character. Yeah. And I recognized her, but I also didn't because I think I only recognized her from early 2000s Target commercials or something. That's what I remember her from.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is that
It took me
Morgan
a minute.
Fairchild? Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I was looking through the cast stuff, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Okay. So she comes over and they have a whole thing, but basically the deal is she is kind of like, I'm going to be spending Christmas alone because she's seeing this man named Patrick. Uh, Patrick is married, and nobody seems super concerned about that or
That's
surprised.
so fun. That was such a funny bit.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna spend I don't know. He just wants to spend it with his wife. It's my favorite kind of character. You know what I mean? Like it's just so good.
Uh-huh.
Just oblivious to how wrong it is. Just like, I guess he
Yeah.
wants to spend
I
it with
mean,
his wife.
she came into the door and was like, "Can a friend go to a tacky area to see another friend?"
That was good.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was a
yeah.
good
There's no valet parking here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that was really good. So she kind of alludes to wanting to stay for Christmas. Mork is about to ask her, well, why don't you come over? And Mindy's like, no, Mork, hold on a second, come over here. And we do that wonderful thing they do on really small sets where you act like
Yes.
the other people can't hear you when you're talking right next to them.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, she can't, please don't invite her over. And I can't remember how it resolved, but Mindy basically
Because she's gonna so Susan is like, oh well, I don't really get up early, so that'll be hard for me. Like, oh well, we're gonna do dinner at whatever. Like we're gonna do that, and she's, oh okay, so I'll just sleep over then.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no.
So she ends up being able to come over. And that gets us to the point where we're gonna have a little group thing, and it plays out
Mhm.
later. But then Eugene comes over, and I also didn't remember Eugene. And Mindy's
Yeah.
not around. This is just Mork and Eugene.
Oh, before Eugene comes over,
Yeah.
one of my favorite jokes is as she's leaving, she says, "I only eat white meat."
Oh
gosh,
yeah.
And Mork's like, "I guess we'll have to get a Caucasian turkey then."
Caucasian turkey.
That was really good.
Oh
I
man,
forgot that.
it's just his brain just
Mhm.
worked in a way that no one else's does.
Oh yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's just on fire all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. So then we get Eugene coming over. Is a little kid with a Christmas tree.
Oh,
And
this kid.
I love this whole setup. Like Robin Williams with kids is always super fun because it's
Mhm.
almost like he doesn't realize they're children. He's just playing with
Yeah.
them.
Mhm.
They come out. He's got the tree, and he doesn't know what it's for. He's like, "Is this a tree in bondage?" He says, "No, it's a Christmas tree." Eugene, you're weird. Why are you dragging this dead thing around?
Mhm.
I just love something tickled me
Tree
about the
in
way he said,
bondage.
"Eugene, you're weird." But Eugene
Yes.
knows.
I mean, it is weird, man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is weird. It is weird. But Eugene spends some time actually telling Mork about what, Christmas presents and kind of how things work. And you go
Mhm.
give gifts, and he's like, I don't have anything. What am I getting for Christmas? He's like, oh, well, giving is the best part. You get to give gifts where you go out and buy something for friends. So is this the point where Susan comes back over with
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh. This is
her
where the first
angel?
knock knock joke comes.
Okay.
Because she's like, knock knock, and he's like, who's there? It's like, Susan. Susan who? Susan Taylor. Terrible knock knock joke. Lets her in.
So she's over and she's brought her Gucci tree angel.
Uh-huh.
Which if
Yeah.
please look at the art for the episode because Audie drew it and it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's so
Mhm.
good.
And it's
And it's her most prized possession,
Right.
is what she says.
yeah. To which Mork takes and says, "Oh, well, fly away, be free," because it has wings, right? And he throws it up in the air and it just crashes
Yeah.
on the ground. And he's like, "Oh, so that didn't work."
So much for your prized possession.
Yeah, so much for price.
That's
I
fine. I have
10
6 more of them
yeah.
at home.
Right.
Yeah, plenty more. So he just threw it. He said, "Ooh, heavy remorse."
That was so good. Oh my god. I cackled. Ooh, heavy remorse.
Mhm.
I was like, I need to just file that one
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So good.
That's going right. That I'm gonna remember to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
that the many times that I feel that it's going in there. Uh,
Ooh.
so she leaves, and they, Eugene and Mork decide they're gonna go out to the mall to do some shopping. For
One more
for
little
Christmas.
callback to a joke. When she's leaving,
Mhm.
this one got me. When
Oh.
she says ciao, and Mork responds, Pekingese.
Pekingese.
The other one too is she's like, gotta fly. What? Remember your friend.
It was so
Oh.
great. So they go to the mall,
Mork
and this is
is
where we
amazing.
find the real spirit of Christmas, which is people
Mhm.
just arguing over stuff. The two old people with
Right.
the scarf just were
Yes.
So
killing me.
good.
Like, I found it
Mhm.
first. Well, I've got more of it. Just
Yep.
angry. And Mork is actually hiding under the table because he just can't be
Mhm.
out there.
I
Uh,
don't blame him at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no, not for that. It was
No.
just absolute madness because they were talking. They've been building up the spirit of giving and people being happy
Mhm.
at Christmas, and they're just. It looks like Black Friday, before you could
At
order
one
everything
point,
online.
at one point when Mindy's explaining Jesus to him, and he's like, "Oh, it's the one time of year when people try to act human," and I
Yeah.
thought that was really
Yep.
good. I was like, "Oh,
He
oh
nailed us.
boy,
Except
timely."
And I loved her response too. He's like, "Well, it's a good start."
Mhm.
Look, this was 1978. We have not gotten any better.
No,
So it's
no.
not any better. But Eugene tries to call Mork out, and what cracked me up is the phrase he used. He said, "I'd rather go swimming in a blender." That got me pretty good. The salesman ends up coming over asking Eugene if there's anything you do, and Mork won't come out, and he finally gets out from under there, and he yells, "Sale on the second floor! There's a sale on the second floor!" And everybody leaves. Goes
Yep.
off
Yeah.
chasing. It's like, yeah, they'll be back when they realize we don't have a second
Have a
floor.
second floor.
Yeah.
But we had to clear the stage. The extras they had gone over their
Yes.
allotted time. We got to get rid of them.
Exactly. It was perfect. We need to be able to hear the actual conversation. It's a good move. It's a good move. I liked it.
Yeah.
And Mork wants to buy some gifts for his friends, for Susan, Mindy, Grandma, who we haven't really seen yet, and then Mindy's dad, neither of which we've seen. So he tells him that's what he's looking for. How much money do you have? $12, which I looked it up because I like comparing how
Yep.
much money is worth. $30
Yep.
bucks. roughly
Okay.
$30 in
Sure.
today money.
All right.
So not
So-
nothing, but not gonna get you
A
Much.
lot.
that many presents.
Sure, yeah, not
If
nothing.
you were
but
buying
nothing
one,
great.
you could probably do okay. But
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
white elephant gift territory.
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. We
So,
used to do my friend group. We used to have a friend Christmas party, and we used to do the $1 Yankee swap.
oh,
And it was the most fun thing in the world.
Mhm.
And the best was the year we were all playing World of Warcraft. One of my friends looked up the average price of gold, and he made a certificate for $1 worth of gold. It was so good. It was
Oh,
the
that's
best.
amazing.
oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That'll grow in value, over time.
Yeah.
That little $1 of gold, it'll get there. That's amazing. So Mort can't afford anything. I don't think he tried to buy anything, if I recall. They just go back home. He learns that
No,
he
because
can
the
make a
guy's
gift.
like, you can't get anything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
He
yeah,
tells
yeah,
him to go shop at McDonald's.
Oh,
To the
yeah.
Golden Arches.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, look. If you wrap me up a case of 10 nuggets and they're still warm when I can unwrap them, we're
Mhm.
friends.
Mhm.
I call that a gift. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love a chicken nugget. It's good.
I like an apple pie.
Oh, even better.
Mhm.
They're so
Mhm.
good.
Mm-hmm. Fun
Plus,
fact.
the thing is, if you buy the apple pie, you've got a long time before it's
You
too
got a
cold
long
to
time.
eat.
Yeah.
yeah, it makes it for a while.
You can heat a small home.
I remember buying the apple pie because you could get 2 for $1, so I made the ridiculous assumption of thinking one was 50 cents. False. One was also $1. I don't know how that math worked, but they were just like, I just want one. And they're like, well, it's $1, but I want one. 2 is at $1. This math is stupid. I don't like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't want 2 apple pies, but it's a better deal. Anyway, why are we in the financial straits we're in? Because of stupid things like that. That's
Mhm.
Pretty much.
But so we get back to the house. Mork knows he can make presents for people. Mindy's wearing a sweater that's just absolutely choking me out. Like I can't breathe looking at her in it. It's just it's like a turtleneck plus. It's like all
Yeah.
the way up
Yeah.
to her face.
It was a turtleneck, and it was up past her chin and rolled.
It rolled. Yeah. Like I can't breathe.
You can just pull it all the way up.
You just-
Yeah.
just
I'm out.
go full turtle, just all the way up.
Yeah.
And here I am now. It's fine. It's all good. I just happened to write that down. So where are we at now? Mork knows he can make some presents, so he goes off to make some presents. Some stuff probably happened in here. I know he yelled at the presents at one point, which I learned rap was a slang for like roasting something, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, because he hid the present for Mindy in the couch
Instead of
Mhm.
wrapping them.
instead of wrapping it. She told him, "Well, you can just wrap the present." So that's when he pulls the pillow back and yells at it.
Yelled at it. I was like, I've
Um,
never heard that word before used in
Yeah.
that way. That was new to
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
Must be a 70s
And
thing.
it was basically kind of that joke. Like he wanted to open the gifts. Mindy's like, "No, we wait till the morning when
Mhm.
Dad and Grandma get here." And then Susan showed up at one point. We get another, don't say who's there. It'll be the worst knock knock joke or something. Terrible knock knock joke.
That's right. That's
Um,
right.
and Susan comes in saying like she brought her presents, and all she got from her boyfriend was a lousy picture of him,
Mm-hmm.
which also happens to be what she's giving everybody, is pictures of herself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So we get to the exchange of the presents, and Mork hands out all of his presents. He's very excited for everyone to open because he made them himself, which is really great. And he hands, so we start with Dad, and he opens Dad's present. What was Dad's? Help me out. I
A
didn't write it
rug.
down.
It was a rug.
It was
A
the
rug.
rug. Yeah, that's right.
What
Yeah,
is-
it was the rug, which was kind of like a toupee.
That's what
I
it was
Yeah, it was like
guess.
intended
AstroTurf.
to be.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
somebody took up carpet samples and like loosely glued them
Yep.
together into the shape of
Mhm.
a helmet.
So good.
He put it on. It looked fine. It was fine. Grandma opens her present and it's a little man playing piano, made out of old bubble gum.
Yeah.
That he's so proud.
Liberace. Not
Liberace.
just any man.
That's right, Liberace playing piano, made out of bubble gum that he painted himself.
Painted himself.
Kind of made me gag a little bit. I may have pulled
Yeah,
Scott
just a little
Johnson and be like,
gross.
Just a
little bit
can't
It's a
handle
little bit
this.
gross.
Yeah, it was a lot. And then Susan opens her present, and it is a dish, a little
Because hers
A
was the only
saucer.
one it was the only one he bought
That's right.
because she said she wanted something she could return.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's perfect. And he said, Mindy said you'd only appreciate something shallow.
Something shallow. Ugh,
So a
So it was
little
only
dish,
a
really
saucer.
good.
just a
Mhm.
saucer. Yeah, it wasn't even a whole plate. Uh, then Mindy opens hers, and it's a little bracelet. And what are these beads on the bracelet? What are these? Oh, those are flies. There's tons of them in the attic.
You must
Uh,
really like them because there's a lot of them up there.
Yeah.
Bunch of dead
Cool.
flies he has glued to this bracelet.
To a bracelet.
Now, if he opened an Etsy shop,
Yeah.
he could
Oh
sell
yeah,
that
he'd be making
to
some
Yeah,
money.
weird goth kids. No
Oh
problem.
yeah, they would love
Mhm.
that.
For
Dead
sure.
flies,
Yeah.
sure, be
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Etsy shop would be selling little, 3-dimensional painted Liberace figures as well, made out of bubble
Yeah.
gum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or at least replicas of the bubblegum Liberace from Mork.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
people would probably buy that. Stop giving me ideas.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find a way to make my 3D printer make me money.
I was about to say, we'll have the STL ready and, we'll have it two to
Can't
four
have a 3D
business
printer unless it somehow makes me $1 from time to time.
Mhm.
It's important. So Mork's so excited about his gifts. Everyone has held it together for him up to this point. He says, "Okay,
And he
well,
has a gift for the house.
right." He has a gift for the house, so he runs away upstairs to go get the gift. And this is when Susan opens her present, I believe, while he's gone from Patrick.
Right.
And
Yes.
opens that present, and it turns out it's $1,000 bill, stuck to a piece of cardboard of some kind.
Sure.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it seems that way.
How else are you going to wrap it?
Yeah.
Right.
So she got $1,000 bill, and she said, "Oh no! All I gave him was a picture of me because I thought he was going to give me a picture of him. I've got to go buy something or find some other gift that I can leave in his mailbox." So she's leaving, and she makes this point that that this is what Christmas is all about. This $1,000 bill is what Christmas is all about, not like those stupid presents that Mort gave us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the old I
And-
overheard that trope.
But
Mhm.
my biggest problem with that was the scene before that where she showed up and they go to bed, and Mindy tells Susan, like, hey, it's Mork's first Christmas. His parents didn't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And leaves. And Susan takes that moment and is like, I guess Mork and I have more in common.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, all right, maybe
Sympathy.
there's going to be something with that,
Redemption.
right? And
Yeah.
nope,
No.
not at all. Nope,
Nope.
she just stays completely shallow.
Of
Mhm.
course. No, there's no redeeming You can't have this character be redeemed. You know? This
Not
is
even
the-
on
Certainly not in
Christmas.
season 1.
Yeah, there's a whole lot. We got a whole lot of growing to do. You know?
Yeah.
But we did get the little scene of Bork's feet coming down from the attic, so his shoes are
Mhm.
there while she's telling. So we know that he heard it. And then everybody's kind of sitting around talking about Mork's presence while he's back there. And I was like, we have to wrap this up in 4 minutes. It's like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
this can't go much further. It's not going to be like he walks away and gets sad and they got to go find him. We're not going to have a proper act 3. We're going to
Nope.
speed this thing up and
No.
confront it right now. So Mort comes around and he feels bad about giving them presents they didn't want. And Mindy tells him, Mindy's dad says, it's the thought that counts. You gave it some thought. You gave us something you thought would make us happy. That's great. And he
Mhm.
said, wait a minute. Thoughts count? You can give somebody thoughts? And they were like,
That's what I should have given you.
yeah, he's like, well, I should have just given you that. And they're like,
Yeah.
wait, you can do that? Because I'm guessing, not having watched season 1, 2, or episode 1, 2, 3, 4 up to this point, that Mindy's grandmother and dad must know that Mork is an alien
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, yeah. So then he does this boop, 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 and gives them all thoughts by pointing at them. And I'm like, how does this work? But it turns out he gives them like memories or helps them conjure up feel good memories
Right.
Mhm.
that they have. That's kind of the idea of giving someone a thought. So Mindy remembers her dog that ran away and then how happy she was when the dog came back, and it gave her all these good feelings.
Which almost made me cry.
That was beautiful.
Like I was
yeah.
Yeah.
tearing up.
As a dog person, that'll get you because you remember. Plus, Pam Dawber just crushed it. Just crushed it.
Oh, yeah.
She's phenomenal. We've said a lot about Robin Williams and how great he is. She is amazing in this show, like
Oh,
top
for
to
sure.
bottom.
Oh yeah.
Anyone that can play along with him and still be a captivating character on screen is
Yes.
doing amazing. So it was great to see her in this too. Grandma couldn't remember or could remember when they didn't have anything when she first got married, had no money, no nothing, and when they bought their first Christmas tree, how excited they were. I was like, that's beautiful. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dad remembers when he held his daughter for the first time, and that was beautiful.
Aw.
So it's like this really sweet, like what good, and it kind of has this double meaning a little bit at the end. Like Christmas isn't about stuff; it's about how you feel, the family you spend time with, the good things
Right.
that have happened. It's like that's really great. And so then they're all like, they're all basically crying, and Mork, they all grab a tissue. Mork grabs his and eats it.
Yeah.
Because you can't end without Mork doing something weird, and that pretty much wraps the episode. What's unusual about this episode is every episode of Mork and Mindy typically ends with Mork talking to Orson, his leader back on the
Sure.
Orc,
Right.
Right.
about what has happened. And this is kind of Robin Williams' opportunity to do a little bit of stand-up comedy on the human condition. Because
Right.
Yeah.
we might not have mentioned this at the beginning, but the whole premise is he's sent to Earth by Orson because humor's not allowed on Orc. And and Mork is just he's humor incarnate. So he sends him, he's like, go to Earth and observe people, report back your findings. So that's why he's here. And he reports back to Orson at the end of every episode and kind of riffs on stuff that people do. But this one didn't end with that. It ended with a kind of a scene underneath the credits of Mork walking down and looking at the Christmas tree in his PJs.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
good. I think that was appropriate for an episode like this. If you're trying to end heartwarming, then go for it. Go all in. But that was
Yeah.
that was it. That was Mork's first Christmas. Mork and Mindy watching the classic Robin Williams doing the Robin Williams
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah. How did we feel about it? We have a good time. We watch it again, Travis?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I love Robin Williams, so I would watch that. And it's streaming free on, I think it was Pluto is where I found
Yeah.
it. So yeah, this would be great background
Yeah.
type of thing.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Adi?
Yeah, I'd probably watch some more. I mean, it's just more Robin Williams. Bring it on.
And Amy?
Yeah. I for sure got emotional. Like he comes on screen. I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This brings up
No,
a
it
good
was great.
question to round us out. Like we talked about podcasters, you can't talk less than 40 minutes, or what are you even doing? What Robin Williams is an icon for us, and I don't remember a time being without him till I was old and he was gone. He was always ever present in some form of media I was watching. When I was a kid, he was the genie in Mrs. Doubtfire. And as I got older, he was in What Dreams May Come. He was in Good Will Hunting. He became a different
Birdcage.
the Birdcage stuff
Oh
that
my
I could
God,
get
right.
as an adult. And he just continued to be a mainstay at whatever age you are. There's some Robin Williams movie that will resonate with you at the
Yeah.
time. So, like, what is if you had to pick your Robin Williams movie or show, which one stands out to you as like that's yours?
Oh boy.
Whoever's
two.
ready. Okay, go for it.
Two, and it's two sides of him. That the first one is Hook,
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
man.
Okay.
because he is great as that Peter Pan character. I love that. And the second one is definitely Good Will Hunting. That
Yeah.
serious side of him and ability to really play serious, and just the way he does that.
Mm-hmm.
Playing off of what's his face,
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the two of them together.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for me, I have to go back to I remember the day and where I was when it was announced on the radio that he had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I was out on a drive with my at the time girlfriend, and we heard it come over the radio, and it was like, well, I guess we're watching a Robin Williams movie when we get home.
Mm-hmm.
And one of her favorite movies was What Dreams May Come. And
Mm.
I said, we're not watching What Dreams May Come
Not
because I'm
now.
already going to cry. I don't need to cry
Mhm.
more. And so we got home and we watched The Birdcage. And for me, that is such a indelible film to me of Robin Williams. and everybody in it, but he's just so great in there, and there's so many lines from that I quote. So that is probably the first place I go now
Mm-hmm.
for Robin Williams is the Birdcage.
Yeah, that's a good pick. What about you, Amy?
I have so many. So, Good Morning Vietnam falls into the category of
Oh,
films I will
yeah.
watch the first half of,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
before it gets real.
Mm-hmm.
So right up until they blow up the restaurant, I'm there. I'm all about it. I love Good Morning Vietnam. Birdcage is obviously it's one of my favorite films. Um, Batty from Fern Gully,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
pivotal.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I
Gravity
think out
Works.
of everything, I say it all the time,
Me
right?
too.
Like I
That or
just say
Price Check
that.
on Prune Juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, price check on prune juice, Bob. I sing the song.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
My name is Batty. The logic is erratic. Anyway, it's the Robin Williams live on Broadway
Oh
special.
gosh.
We
Oh,
must
Lord.
have watched that 1,000 times. Like like it's been a hot second, so I don't remember all of it now. But at one point I could recite that
Oh yeah.
entire stand-up special.
So that stand-up special almost killed me.
Yeah.
Like physically almost killed me because I was laughing so hard I started choking uh while I was watching it. It was, and it wasn't the golf bit,
Yeah.
although
That's
it should
that
have
hilarious.
was
been.
that was so good.
But that catalyzed it. But the thing that nearly destroyed me were two lines. One of them was because he was talking about just the craziness of people on TV and whatnot. He said, "Why don't we just put Hannibal Lecter on Iron Chef and kick out the jams?" Followed by, I mean, these are things that even Caligula would look at and be like, "What is wrong with you people?" And that pushed me over the
Gone.
edge. We had to
Gone.
stop the video, and my roommate had to save my life.
Amazing.
That's such a fond memory for me too, because I remember it coming on, and I've only known Robin Williams up to that point as mostly a family guy.
Yeah.
So we were watching. I
Yeah.
Mhm.
watched it with
Mhm.
my parents,
Oh
and
boy.
we're
Good Lord.
watching it, and I just forgot they were there. We were all so just losing our. I've never seen my dad laugh so hard, like in my
Yeah.
life. Maybe the only thing that made him laugh that hard was the diarrhea thing in Dumb and Dumber. This is like the equivalent of just watching him just falling apart at watching this thing. So yeah, that's a big one for sure. I might have a controversial pick, but it's one that showed me his range because I'd seen
Sure.
so many Robin Williams movies that were, like I said, family friendly. Your Fern Gully, your
Mhm.
Genies, your all this stuff. Death to Smoochie.
I was about to say
When
that
he
movie.
played Rainbow Randolph,
Mm-hmm.
I just I remember being in the theater with my two friends because we were like 16 or 17 at the time when that came out, losing our minds. We would just make elephant noises at each other for a year after that. It just killed us.
I
That
think
was such a
everybody
joy.
in that movie just killed it in the most
Oh,
unexpected way.
it's Danny DeVito doing exactly what Danny DeVito's
Mhm.
built to do. The
Yeah.
Dutch angles, the weird universe he created,
Yeah.
like of this child entertainers mafia. It's just the
Mhm.
weirdest,
Yeah.
funniest movie. And that really blew me away watching him in that. I did not expect it. And anytime I see someone crap on Death to Smoochie, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help you because it was so good. Um,
So I posed a question earlier, and if we don't answer
oh
it,
yeah.
it'll be a
Oh
problem.
yeah.
So I need to know, Audie, I want to start with you. You get to pick one stand-up comedian to replace Mork, to replace Robin Williams and Mork, because I just want to know. I
Okay.
want to know where you go with this.
So here's what the guy that came to mind for me was, I don't know if he's done stand-up comedy, but for some reason I just think Will Sasso would kill it in his own way.
Okay, I can see that. I can see Will
Like
Sasso doing that.
as a
I like it.
big dumb alien guy.
That would work. I could
Perfect.
see him. The way he
That's
plays Curly
real good.
in the
Right.
Three
Yeah.
Stooges movie.
And he
that
had, what was it with, he was big in Vine when that was a thing. And I just remember
Mhm.
these bits of him doing stuff, and all of a sudden a lemon would come out of his mouth. Like
Mhm.
he'd be doing something, and all of a sudden he's just freaking out. He's like, whoa.
It's kind of like a clown, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. Steven, how about you? You got one?
I don't watch enough stand-up comedians to give you the best answer, but for some reason Brian Regan popped into my head. I don't know
Oh.
why, but just loud Brian Regan
Mhm.
somehow worked for me.
See, I like that because Brian Regan does the Brian Regan voice
Yes.
for Mork.
That's
would
what
work.
that's what I'm thinking of. Is
I
him
like
doing
I like that choice.
Mhm.
That's a good one too. That's a very good one. Amy?
JF in the chat stole mine because it is James A. Caster. Um,
He would be great. Oh my
if you
gosh.
haven't
Mhm.
seen his newest special, about something about heckling, I think it is. It's really good. I watched it the other night. It would be it'd be a different
Mhm.
vibe, but I
Oh,
think
for
I
sure.
think James A. Caster would be phenomenal.
Okay, there's one more I did think of, and this would throw it into a whole nother level, but Randy Feltface.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a puppet comedian. If you haven't seen
Yep.
him, he's hilarious.
He would be something else. And that would be very Alf at that point
Right.
with the puppet. But
Yeah.
I can dig that for sure. I went in a very different direction. Because there's just the thing with Robin Williams, the line you said from Gary Marshall about like Robin Williams was the only alien that showed up,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so my thought was, we'll go on a very different energy level. Mitch Hedberg as
Oh,
Mork.
wow.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
pick.
Mhm.
Wow.
Very
That is
different,
a good pick.
but very
It's
good.
very different, but I think it would have been pretty
Also an
impressive, pretty
alien.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Man.
His
To
commentary on
impress
how
it,
Six
people
he's
ducks
still wearing the same
outside.
outfits Robin Williams did in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yes, that's important.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
6
never
ducks
taking the
outside, and they
sunglasses off, you know.
all
Mhm.
want sun chips.
I love a Mitch Hedberg. I like that none
I
of us
like
chose Richard Lewis, so they definitely made the
no,
Yeah.
best.
Yes.
no, that's not
No
it.
offense to Richard
Mm-mm.
Lewis, you know.
No,
Rest
no,
in
no,
peace.
I
just not
love
this.
Richard Lewis, but
Yeah.
Not
not here.
this.
No.
No.
All right. I feel
Yeah.
good. I feel good about all of those choices, though. I have to say, they're very
I
inspired
liked
choices.
I liked
Yes.
the idea that we were going to pose that question and then let people yell forever that we didn't answer it.
Oh yeah.
Would have been good.
Why did they didn't answer the question? We might have actually gotten emails. Speaking of emails, did we get any?
I don't believe we did.
Did anybody check? Or are we
I am
going out
checking.
on a limb?
No.
I'm trying to check, but my Firefox, when it launches, takes about 8 years to load a web page. Once it's there, we're good.
Yep.
But it takes a lot. You know, those little gears are spinning. We got nothing. Okay, that was a waste
No.
of time.
I've got one response from Blue Sky from our episode last week from our buddy Corey Scott.
Sweet.
Reek.
He said, I love this episode, talking about the Sesame Street,
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve on Sesame Street. I love this episode simply because how everyone is completely unashamed about how much we all love Sesame Street. Thank you all so much for reminding me about the experience I had watching this as a kid and for convincing me to seek it out again as an adult. This is a sense of joy I've needed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Aw.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fun to go back to the old days and not be disappointed. And Sesame Street's number one for that. You're never going to go back and look at Sesame Street and be like, man, this isn't as good as I remember. No, it is.
1, 2,
It
3,
is.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Every time. I can't, like, I
Yep.
just,
Mhm.
there it
That's
is.
such a good
It's
song.
reflexive. You have to do the whole thing.
Yep,
Yeah.
that or Ladybug's Picnic. Those are your 2
Mhm.
options.
I can button myself. That was a big song. I remember. I can button myself. You know.
A loaf of bread, a container of milk, and a stick of butter.
Oh snap! I remember that
Nice.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
They just
Yeah,
come
don't even worry
flying
about
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That weird. You're like that's been buried
Yeah.
deep in the in the wrinkles of my brain.
Yep.
See, that, and I always remember the fishing bit with Bert and Ernie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fishy.
My father does
Oh
that.
man, that's so good. Well, if you
We're
have,
just gonna. All right, let's just talk about Sesame.
let's talk about Sesame Street again.
Well, we have to because the sad news from that just recently
Jeez
happened.
Louise.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I'm so upset about that.
Yeah, HBO will not
HBO
be
ending.
renewing Sesame Street. I don't. It will find a home. We'll make
It
it.
has
It'll
to.
it'll
Yeah.
happen. I don't care if Sesame Street starts a Patreon. It'll be the biggest Patreon you've ever
Hey,
seen.
billionaires, billionaires, you know how you're maybe not got a lot of good PR right now?
Yeah,
Here's
You know what
some
could
here's some
help?
good PR.
yeah, yeah.
You know what could
Depends on the
help?
billionaire, though.
Dolly will save us.
Oh,
Yes, Imagination Station plus or Imagination Library plus Sesame Street. Are you kidding? Do you want to
That's
submit
what
your
I'm saying.
legacy as the greatest person that ever lived?
mhm.
You're already there, but I mean, why not just
Yeah.
really drive it home?
Yep.
It'll be fine. I have faith in the system, but we're not here to talk
Yeah.
about systems. We're here to talk about TV, and we did that, and we
Yeah.
succeeded. And if you would like to tell us your thoughts on Mork and Mindy or Sesame Street or the upcoming show, which we'll get to in a second, you can do all that at thosewere-the-days-show@gmail.com. Please send us your emails. You can find all of us all over at Blue Sky now. Steve
Yeah.
H&H,
Yep.
TV's Travis, the Audie Norman, and Danny Ora. They're all in the links. I've updated them in the show notes. You can find us. Use Blue Sky because it's better. It's just a great place. A great place
Yeah.
to be. If you want to get in touch with us, or you can join us over at twodorks.net/Discord to join our Discord server. And update from the charity stream on Friday. Thank you
Yeah.
to all of you who participated. We made $2,100 for Toys for Tots over the course of that day. Absolutely astounding.
Fantastic.
We had so
I
much
rolled
fun.
in. I rolled in when you were playing with Sam, and it was unhinged. I was so excited. It was so
He's-
good.
He's like, let's play this. 10 minutes later, okay, let's switch the game. Oh my gosh, okay, let's go. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah,
Yeah.
we had a
So good.
phenomenal time. Thank you to everyone who donated. 253 squats were done that
That's
morning.
a lot.
I'm still feeling it. It still hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will until I die.
Yeah.
But next week we'll be back Monday. I'm assuming. I think that's not Christmas
Yeah.
Eve, so we should be here.
No.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be
It's-
here next Monday
it's
for
my
another
birthday, but I'll be
episode
here.
where Amy will be taking us somewhere new. Where are we going, Amy?
All right. I want to I want to honorable mention and tell everybody to go find somewhere on your favorite shady YouTube or pirate site and go watch Muppet Family Christmas because you just should. But that's not what
Mhm.
we're doing.
Okay.
We are doing another Christmas special. We are doing a Garfield Christmas.
Oh,
One
was
of
on my
my
list.
favorites. Yeah.
Mine too.
I had two. Yeah, well, Travis and I found out that we were both like waffling between two, and they were the same two. So that was great. That made it way easier because he committed. And so I got to pick the other one, which is Garfield Christmas. One of my favorites. I could probably still tell you the commercials that aired
Oh,
on the
yeah.
tape that was
Mhm.
we recorded off of television. It's available on Peacock. I think it's on Prime. There's versions of it on YouTube. It's the one where they go to the farm for Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh,
I'm so
can't
excited.
wait.
Perfect. That's going to be wonderful. So tune in with us, everybody, next week on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time here at twitch.tv/twodorkstv, or catch it on your favorite podcast service. If you do listen to the podcast, if you have time, throw us a review. We haven't asked for
Yeah.
that in a while. It's always good to get those to see if we can find some more folks who also love old TV to come sit on the front porch and jibber jabber with us. And with that, for Travis, for Audie, for Amy, for me, Steven, thank you all for being here with us, and we'll see you next time on Those Were the Days.